Scotty Mills in New York, getting McPrick, and today I'm going to be going over National Indigenous People Day. Before I get into this, and Indigenous people and film mislabeling in movies and shit, okay? Like, subscribe, don't like. I don't give a shit. If you like me, you do. If you don't, you don't. Honestly, at this point, I really don't give a fuck. But please, tell people about this video. Please tell people about Hispanic Heritage Month and that film mislabeling, because it's pissing me the fuck off. Native people, man, Indigenous people, they get fucked all the time. They get fucked in cinema probably worse than any other culture. Honestly, I'm telling you that right now. And what gets me is people like Netflix and Hulu, right? They have like black stories. And most of those movies and TV shows, they're not historical movies. No, they're movies and TV shows that just have a black person in it. Just happen to have a black cast member, okay? It's inclusion bullshit. But you know what? They want to be so inclusive and shit, right? And they do that with natives too, okay? And natives, man, you go under like a tab or some shit on Netflix or Hulu and look at indigenous movies, and most of it is just some white savior colonization bullshit. Okay, that's what it is. And I'm tired of it. Now, look, man, we all get it, okay? The Europeans, they came over here, right? They raped, they pillaged, savagely beaten, and took hold, hostage, man. They made natives slaves. We get it, though, okay? There was wars, there was battles, there was purchases made. We ripped them off, man. Americans, too, man. We, as the USA, we ripped off native people, man. We stole their land for a couple of pennies. And it's pretty pathetic, but that's history, okay? We can't change history, and that's the bottom fucking line. But when it comes to cinema, okay, when it comes to movies and TV shows, now listen up, Karens. You gotta listen up, because Hollywood made this modern day image of Native Americans in film. Now they love to romanticize, and they love to villainize Native Americans, okay? And that's just what they love, because the audience wanted that. The audience members did not want to have a Native American hero. That was the problem. And I'm sick of all the tropes and shit in Hollywood. I really am. Because Hollywood, now, it's not always been liberal, okay? But Hollywood is run by liberals like a motherfucker right now. And if you don't understand that, open your eyes. They really do lean towards the left, because they want to make everybody happy. So what do right now? When it comes to Native Americans, they'll just make another war movie about Sitting Bull or some shit. Now, look, Sitting Bull, man, I get it. Great dude, in history. But I am so sick and tired of all these goddamn Pocahontas, John Smith movies, and wars, and Sitting Bull, and honestly, I can't even think of half the other historical figures. And I researched this shit, and actually, I do remember a lot from high school too, which is another point. I think that a lot of people, especially in the public education, okay, they don't understand because they're not getting taught. Now, I did get taught, okay, and as a white dude, okay, yes, a white dude preaching right now, I understand that indigenous people are from all around the world. Okay, yeah, we have Native Americans, cool, but they have them in Australia, in Mexico, in South America, in Canada. They have them in New Zealand, okay? Indigenous people, that's what they are. They're indigenous to that region, right? But people don't understand that anymore, which is why, Hollywood, they comes up with these, The New World in 2004, right? Another Pocahontas movie. Native American movies are not about Native American. No, they're not. Okay, they're about white saviors. Okay, they're about colonization, and they're about vicious rituals and parts of the culture that we already know about. Now, tell me 5 things that you learned from a goddamn movie about indigenous people that did not include violence, that did not include, like, actual shit, like food. I love food, man. I love food. All right, so I'm getting a little bit off topic right now, okay? But I dove deep into this shit, okay? I did, because, I did film or Hispanic mislabeling for film, okay? And that shit pissed me off. So, for Indigenous People Day, I really wanted to dive in and really find some shit that is meaningful, okay? That can really represent the indigenous community with some kind of pride, okay? When it came to culture. Now, me, I hate when culture is a second character. I just hate it, because it's inclusion bullshit. Now, yeah, man, we could make a movie, okay, about some Cherokee, some Iroquois, Algonquin, Lakota. Yeah, we could do that, right? But what is that movie going to consist of? Please tell me. Because almost every time they put somebody in a movie, okay, they do some spirit world peace pipe passing bullshit, okay, that's just not legit. We only focus on one kind of Native American, and that's because of Hollywood. Now, like I said, I dove deep, man. I really tried to find movies and TV shows that really depicted Native culture and indigenous people in a really good way, okay? And I came across a show on Hulu called Reservation Dogs, and this show is really just about a bunch of dumbass teenagers who are trying to leave a reservation and go to California. Okay, they hate their life there. And I understand reservations are poor. most of the time, almost all the time. And, you know, it's a certain lifestyle that nobody asked for. But here's my question. When it comes to cinema, okay, is it only identification if you live on a reservation? Like, honestly, it's bullshit. Now, don't get me wrong. Reservation Dogs, it's not the worst example on this list that I have of shit that I hate. It's not. But what gets me is the fact that it just feels inclusive to me. Now, they do a lot of comedy in it with the tropes and stereotypes. They make fun of it. I noticed a lot of Native Americans and indigenous people, they love making fun of the fact that Western people basically just made up their own kind of Indian or Native American. I find it hilarious. I love jokes that are inappropriate. I love jokes that make fun of people. But it does not really depict Native culture in a good way. It does not fucking show that culture is real and rich in these fucking tribal lands, in these regions of the world. It just doesn't. And throughout this video, you can disagree with me. I don't give a shit because it's America and it's free. We can have opinions. Now, I also came across a show called The Trickster, okay? And it's about this kid on native land, and he's a son of a trickster, okay? Basically just a reimagining, okay, a modern day folklore of the trickster. Now, I thought the show started out as a decent show, but it didn't continue because the creator, she has some identity issues. I'm not like that gender shit, okay? Not like trying to figure out if you're X, Y, Z. No, she claims she was native, but I guess she's not. Honestly, it's too much bullshit for me. I don't give a shit. But the show itself, man, yeah, I get it, folklore. That part actually has to do with Native culture. You know, oral traditions are fucking huge. I thought it's kind of cool, but it's just not a really good depiction. It's just one of those whitewashed movies, okay? I'm tired of the spirit world bullshit because, yeah, that's a part of the culture. That does not mean that is what the culture is. Now, Hollywood, man, they try to, like, stray away from stereotypes and shit and lean towards inclusion, right? That's how they came out with Moana and Coco and shit like that. Now, look, I love Coco. I think it's a great movie. I love Moana, too. I think it's an awesome movie. I think the cast did a great job. The animators were awesome. But here's the problem with Moana. Half of Moana, right, is good. Half of it is depicted correctly. The other half is represented like shit. Like shit. Like Maui. His story got butchered, okay, because of Disney's ass inclusion self. What they do is like, let's appeal to like one community. Let's fucking be good people. Let's put some native people into a movie and some Polynesians and shit. And then we can label it, and then we can get them all to fucking like it, and then we get views, and we make money. And you know what? We're being good. We're being really generous because we're putting these sad, tiny little people into a movie. Get the out of here, you ignorant ass racist. Like, honestly, when you butcher a culture in a movie, you do no fucking justice. And that's what half the Native movies are, man. They did like Molly and Denali, or Molly of Denali. Now, I watched a couple episodes. I did. Now, it's basically Dora the Explorer with a fucking Alaskan Native girl. That's it. Like, I didn't learn a goddamn thing, man. Show me the fucking map. Show me the goddamn map. Like, PBS, man, like, honestly, it's a little bit off topic, but you have to get back to, like, teaching kids shit. I'm all for teaching kids culture because we live in a world full of culture, but when you don't put enough information or learning experience into a TV show, you just look like a inclusion dumbass. But maybe it's better than, like, half these other things going on, okay? Like, Last of the Mohicans, great movie. Terrible depiction. Dances with Wolves, great movie. Shitty depiction. New World in 2004 about Pocahontas, man. I'm tired of Pocahontas shit. I really am. Terrible depiction. I don't give a shit if you have Native American actors in that movie. It's not a Native movie. It's a whitewashed bullshit story. Now, obviously, I can't watch every movie, and I probably missed a lot of them. And the list that I'm about to give you, you might not agree with, or maybe they're just not good enough for your taste. That's fine. Just hear me out, though. Now, I want to start with a documentary that I found called Real Indigenous. It was awesome. It was. And I'll tell you why. Because in the documentary, this dude, he traces back stereotypes of Native people in cinema. And basically, they all say they just want to be normal people. They're tired of being villainized or romanticized. And Pocahontas ass bullshit. They really do a great job at showing you how Hollywood, okay, has basically formed this one Indian that we know in movies. Next up, there's a movie called Black Robe, okay? And I love this movie. I think it's awesome. Apparently, historians, like, they think it's so authentic and so real. And it's basically about some missionaries, and they get acquainted with the Algonquins up in, I think it was Canada, and in Quebec, actually. And I'll tell you why I love this movie. And it's the stupidest reason why. The dumbest reason. They were camping, and they were eating, like, dinner, okay? It was like dinner time. And one white dude rose up with a plate, eating just like the Algonquins would, and then the other dude is sitting there with a bowl and spoon. Now, it sounds like the dumbest reason to like this movie, But what I loved about that, okay, is it's real. Nobody had to say, hey, why you eating like an Algonquin? Or, hey, why don't you eat this way? No. There was none of that bullshit describing and explaining shit. It was just culture in a image, man. In a scene. It was great. Now, also, I came across a movie called The Fast Runner by Zachary Canuck, and honestly, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. It's basically about a legend and oral tradition brought to the screen. It's basically them opening up their culture and showing the world who they are, okay, and what their traditions are. I think it's awesome. The director was also attached to Before Tomorrow. That one is dope. You have to check that shit out. Now, the last one I have is called Cousins, okay? Now, this comes from New Zealand. It's not exactly American native, okay? But that's okay, because indigenous people from around the world, okay? They're not all red-faced motherfuckers, okay? Don't be a racist prick. Now, Cousins is about a girl. She gets orphaned off, goes to an orphanage. Eventually, she gets a letter. She ends up getting back with her mom's side of the family, okay? Her cousins, who are indigenous people of New Zealand. Now, I love this movie because they don't force the culture into your face. The culture is a part of the characters, okay? And you get a really good sense of that. It's not like this inclusion bullshit, like I mentioned again, where they just hit you with a 10-pound bag of bricks and you don't know what the fuck is going on, but now you all of a sudden know what indigenous culture is. No, it's not like that. But you get a really great sense of the story. You get a really great sense of the characters. And honestly, it won some awards. I think the acting was amazing. You have to watch this movie if you didn't already. This is all I got today, okay? Now, do me a favor, especially if you're a filmmaker. Make movies, okay? But not like these liberal-ass bullshit motherfuckers do. Don't give me a list of inclusion-ass shit that I should watch so that way I know I'm not racist, okay? I'm just so tired of it. I really am. Now, next episode, it's going to be a touchy episode, okay? It will. It's going to piss a lot of people off. And honestly, I want to reach as many people as I can with the next episode, because then I will be asking the question, do people of color matter?